Being able to live in a house that you buy is simply one of the many reasons why you would consider buying a house, particularly if you're an investor. Now, if you think that your VR avatar is going to be living in the metaverse property that you buy, then this video is not for you unless you're really high and you just want the shits and giggles. Now, disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor of any kind, nor am I planning on buying a house in the metaverse. I can't afford to buy a house in the real world as things stand. I am simply making a case for why it might be worthwhile to buy a house in the metaverse by drawing parallels between what it means to own property or a house in the metaverse and what property ownership in the real world entails. Why does anybody buy a house? Two reasons. Number one, they find a location that is very suitable for them, so suitable that they wouldn't mind moving there and committing to staying there for a period of 10 plus years. And unless you plan on putting on your VR headset for 10 plus years and just living a metaversal life, that option isn't for you. And reason number two is building wealth and generating rental income or some kind of passive income. And that's the reason we're going to focus on. There are a few different metaverses out there. And believe it or not, you can't really own property in all of these metaverses, nor should you. For every legitimate blockchain-based project out there, there's probably a dozen scammy blockchain projects, so proceed with caution. But there are some metaverses where properties simply aren't for sale. Take Facebook's Horizon Worlds, for example. So if you are an aspiring metaverse landowner, you're going to have to take your money and your interests to other worlds, to other metaverses. And before you take your time and attention to some other metaverse, make sure you show my channel some of that time and attention by hitting that like button and hitting that subscribe button and showing me some love. Two of the most popular and promising metaverse projects out there are Decentraland and Sandbox. Obviously, they're still virtual, which means there are a lot of limitations, but crazily enough, there's also some wacky things that you can do in the metaverse that you could never have imagined doing in the real world. And I'll get into that in a second. Let me talk about Decentraland in today's video so I can give you a sense of what land ownership can seem like in one of these metaverses. So Decentraland has about 90,000 parcels of land or tokens of land, and surprise, surprise, the way you own these land parcels is by owning the NFT that backs it. Now, I actually think that this is one of the more promising uses of NFTs. The NFTs that you use to share around digital art or virtual art, while it can be a good way to capture value of content creators and digital artists, I think isn't the best use of NFTs. Because at the end of the day, an NFT is a token of ownership, and that ownership token is guaranteed by the record being stored on the blockchain. Anything on the blockchain is immutable and it is publicly available for everybody to verify. Each of these parcels of land measures 16 meters by 16 meters. If you don't believe me, get a virtual measuring tape and measure it out for yourself. I actually don't know how they would verify that. Do not quote me on that. And once you own a parcel of land in Decentraland, you can use it to do whatever the hell you want to do. You can create an amusement park and build some physics-defying roller coaster rides. You could build a virtual party house and lease it out to virtual gnomes who pay you rent in virtual money. I'm kidding, there's no gnomes in the metaverse that'll pay you rent in virtual currency. If anybody tells you that there are virtual people that pays you virtual rent, that's all a scam. But here is somebody who will actually give you real money to be leasing out your space in the metaverse. Businesses that are trying to set up virtual retail spaces. In Decentraland's 2022 Fashion Week, there were about 70 different fashion brands that set up their fashion stores to attract retail shopping in these virtual spaces. The idea is that customers could walk through these virtual showrooms and find apparel and accessories that they like and then order just like they would order these items when they were shopping online. Obviously, your virtual avatars trying out these clothes makes no sense. That's not what people do. That isn't the point of setting up virtual showrooms. Now, I'm going to take a brief aside and talk about what it means to sell fashion and to create a fashion brand. Disclaimer, If I always say that you shouldn't take financial advice from me, that goes double for fashion advice. I mean, look at what I'm wearing. I have no sense in fashion, but I do know what it means for a fashion brand to be selling their brand. And this applies to selling anything, really. When you have a customer walk into your store, you want to sell them the idea of what they want, and you want to curate an experience around their time in the showroom, deliberately selected to give you a curated experience that makes you feel welcome, that reminds you of what it is like to be shopping at Starbucks. All of that goes into the brand building that creates the Starbucks product. These fashion outlets would be able to create crazy visualizations, crazy 3D artwork, whatever their mind and hearts can imagine, hearts don't imagine. The tools that these fashion outlets will have at their disposal to create that curated experience that sells their product, that sells their brand to you, is not going to be limited by the laws of physics. And that's both scary and exciting. But to these fashion brands, it's metaverse money, aka real money paid by your avatars through cashless payments processing systems. Maybe through Bitcoin, who knows? That's not important and not relevant. And very similar to how there's neighborhoods that are more desirable in the real world, there are neighborhoods that are more desirable in Decentraland, and I'm sure in other legitimate metaverses too. Investors have been buying up huge parcels of land in the metaverse so that they can transform that into venues that are going to be attracting foot traffic. Obviously, you don't have to get in your virtual car and drive from one location to another location when you're in the metaverse, but being close to areas of interest does give you more access. Now, obviously, all of this is very new, and a lot of the predictions that we're making are probably going to fall flat on their faces. But we can't really, at this point, truly begin to fathom how virtual worlds and virtual real estate can and will be used in the future. What we do know is that there is a lot of institutional money pouring into the space, and big companies are taking interest. Well, that's all, folks. Thank you for sticking around. I will see you in the next video.